Hey guys, Shane here. Before we get started today, I want to ask you a quick favor. Please hit that subscribe button and give this podcast episode a share on social media so that we can help more families start, build, and grow a membership of their own. We appreciate that so much. Thank you for listening today. And now on to the podcast.
Hey y'all, on today's podcast, we help John launch his mission-based membership to spread the gospel around the world. John has spent his entire career as a Christian radio broadcaster. He wants to take those skills and start a membership that helps people all over the world grow closer to Jesus through daily group devotions. On today's podcast, you will learn how to finally get your content done fast so you can launch your membership, the exact order you need to get a minimal viable product out into the world, and how to capitalize on your unfair advantages to give you a unique advantage in your niche. I know you are going to enjoy Shane's chat with Flip Your Life community member, John Fugler. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to the Flip Lifestyle Podcast, where life always comes before work. We're your hosts, Shane and Jocelyn Sams. We're a real family that figured out how to make our entire living online. And now we help other families do the same. Are you ready to flip your life? All right, let's get started. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Flip Lifestyle Podcast. It is great to be back with you again today. Super excited to talk to another amazing member, a real member of the Flip Your Life community that we have brought on to the show to have a conversation to help them take their online business, their online dream to the next level. Really excited to introduce my friend John Fugler to the program today. What's up, John?
Shane, so good to be here. This is like a treat for me, I'll tell you.
It's Christmas in August. That's what it is, man. Christmas in August. What is a treat for me too, man? And I know that we're going to have an awesome conversation. You've got a very interesting background that I think is very unique to anyone we've ever had on the podcast before. So before we get into all the online business, all the membership sites, all that good stuff, tell us a little bit about you, your family, where you're from, and what's your background that led you kind of today.
Oh, boy. I'm married. My wife and I have been married over 41 years. We've got 3 children and 8 grandchildren. So we travel around trying to keep up with the grandchildren. My wife, in fact, is in Colorado right now, and she's helping watch 3 of the grandkids. And grew up in Rochester, New York, and kept going west because I'm a big Dodger fan. And it was my dream to show up in California one day in 1978. And the first thing I did, the first full day in California, I went to the World Series and without a ticket, and I got in for $15.
That's unbelievable.
So anyway, we have served in Christian broadcasting for, 40 years now, domestically and also internationally in missions broadcasting. Currently serve with TWR, Trans World Radio. We broadcast over 4 billion people population-wise around the world right now, and it's just a great way to get the good news out to people. And it's been my passion, and still doing it, and love to help people know Christ and grow in their faith. So my wife and I have done broadcasting together for most of these years. And,
that's amazing. So do you have a radio show together where you actually talk to each other, or is it like you support each other, or you each have a show? Like how do you do that?
Well, we started Christian radio stations, Christian music stations, and she was the music director and program director. I was the general manager, so I was her boss, No,
you weren't. You can say that, but come on. That'd be like if I walked up to Jocelyn and said, "Yeah, I'm your boss." She'd be like, "Okay, big boy, your britches are tied up a little too tight there, son. You're kind of losing oxygen to the brain cells right now." All right.
People would say it's so cute that you're working together. Well, you know the truth, right, Shane?
Yeah, you're working for her. That's what it really was all about. That's how we do it, man. And it's funny with the COVID outbreak and coronavirus and all that. Like, we've all had to really change the way we live. I mean, it's just disrupted every moment of our lives. And I'm not here to argue what people believe about coronavirus. The bottom line is the situation on the ground is life's real different, y'all. And we've had to do so many different things, and there is a temptation to put grab the bull by the horns and, figure out what's going on. But me and Jocelyn, man, we had to talk a lot about, well, what does the new world look like? Right now we don't have any childcare. All of our we have the grandparents usually helped with the kids. My mom and dad are just, getting up there in years. The other grandparents are getting older too. And there was all kinds of different things going on. Schools canceled. And we had to change the whole podcast format to manage our life, because Jocelyn wanted to do some one-on-one coaching to help our members, right? I've got a lot going on with our history site. We're trying to launch a homeschool business. We're trying to do all these things. And the one thing that was really hard for as a couple working together toward a dream was being in the same place at the same time. That simple thing was really holding us back, causing tension, causing friction. And we had to say, well, you know what? I think I'm going to have to do the podcast. You're going to you do the intros. That way you can serve your one-on-one people. I can do workshops. I can work on these other things, and we can still get the kids to practice and anything else that they're doing, like, basketball lessons and cheer lessons and, all this stuff. But as a couple working together, that's the hardest part. Don't you think? Like the schedule, like figuring out who does what, and also honoring what each other does. Has that ever been a struggle for you guys?
Oh, definitely. I mean, the days of the kids growing up, and in radio, you're on all the time. You can't just not show up one day. You've got to do your show.
Yeah. The podcast has to come out. The radio's got shows. It's Monday through Friday. Someone's got to tune in at 6 a.m., right?
Yeah, exactly. Back then, when we first started, there was no recording, really. So my wife, she brought the kids into the studio. There was one time that they had, I think it was chicken pox, and she brought them in because I was out of town. And she had to do her show, her 4-hour show. So she'd be in the studio during her show, run around the corner to the other room, pat the moaning kids on their head, come back in.
I love it.
It was,
I love it.
That was a low point. That was the low point. But yeah, there's times you just don't have a backup. You're really thin, and you just got to go for it. So yeah, I understand what you're talking about. You really need each other.
Yeah. The only time things don't work is when I don't know. It's like, that's another thing, is like fighting through like different, like, like last night, Jocelyn, she had like 3 or 4 one-on-one coaching calls yesterday. She was blasted, man. She was so tired. I mean, because she's an introvert, and she gets I get juiced the more people I talk to, right? Like I got another one. I just had another podcast. I got another one after this. I'm ready to rock, right? I'll be bouncing off the walls until probably 3 a.m. tonight, And she goes to cheer. They're doing social distancing gymnastics right now, where they're all separated. So she brings back Anna and 2 of her friends who are really close to us. We know who they are, where they've been. They come over to the house, and then Jocelyn just collapses and falls asleep. And I don't want to wake her up because I feel bad about it, But now then those little girls were getting in a fight at 1:30 a.m. last night over who was sleeping in the middle. Like, come on, people! Like, I can't do this. And then my son, he was mad about that because they woke him up and he couldn't go back to sleep. And it's like valuing each other's contribution. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little mad about 1:30 a.m. last night, bro. But this morning, Jocelyn was like, "Man, this is hard to juggle," and I'm like, "It is. We're both in this together. We got to we figured it out. That we survived last night. We'll survive today. Let's survive tomorrow. Chicken pox throwing up on us, you name it, we're going to make it through because we got people to serve and we got a message to deliver. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you're looking pretty good today.
You
sound like you had a great night's sleep.
No, man. No, the amount of caffeine that is flowing through the veins right now, it's pretty intense. I've always wanted to, the radio world does fascinate me because I love to talk. And we have a big brand vision for Flip Lifestyle. Like someday we want multiple shows under the umbrella. Like Flip Lifestyle is kind of the movement, the lifestyle, right? Like we are family focused entrepreneurs, right? We value success at home and in, the boardroom or whatever you want to call it. Right. And I've always envisioned like, other shows like Flip Your Finances, like which is more like Dave Ramsey, and then Flip Your Family, where we talk only about marriage and parenting, but it wouldn't be us doing it. Like we would hire hosts, right? Like we would find marriage experts, and like maybe there was a couple that worked together in that, and they would lead that part of the brand or whatever, like personalities, just like a radio station would do. You know what I mean? Sure. And it's just such a fascinating world to go into. You know what I mean?
Well, you're still young, so you got the energy to carry that out.
I don't know about that, man. If I survive my kids, it'll be all right. I'll have energy.
Well, they just have them take the kids' show.
That's right. Yeah, flip your parents. Flip your parents off. That's what their show will be called. Flip your parents off. No, that probably would not be very Christian. I probably should not have that as a part of the story. Okay. All right. Let's circle back around and get this show under control here. So tell me about the online dream. Now, what's interesting here, I'm reading the form that we have our members fill out when they come on a podcast, and it says that you actually have kind of been in the online game since 2002, which is like, wow, that's when it got hot, man. You know what I mean? Like, so tell me about what's going on where you've been in the online world. What was your business about there? And I think you just sold that business, correct?
Sure. It's called Recruit Me. It was helping families of athletes, high school athletes, get athletic scholarships. Actually, to teach them to do it on their own, to empower families to go through a step-by-step process. And so we had digital products, video, audio, everything that they could grab online and download. Back in 2002, that actually opted for a printed version, and we would send out a printed workbook manual and send it out to them. But it was all about empowering families to go after that athletic scholarship. And when we started it out, my friend, who I was the content guy, he was the systems guy, and he technical and all the technical stuff. And so we basically just bought Google AdWords, and we had
old
more
school, baby, before the slaps, before they slapped down all the algorithm, right?
How about 22 cents a click or 15 cents a click?
Hey, listen, I still get that. I still get that
Do
in my
you?
education company. Yes, because I'm good at long tail keywords, man, and I can put down. I can go find 100 long tail keywords that all get 100 searches a month, but together I got 10,000 searches a month, man. And I'll drive them to that Abraham Lincoln worksheet and get that email, baby. I can get emails for under $1. That's how it works. No, flip lifestyle though. Whew, no, it's like $30. You know what I mean?
It's amazing. And so we just I think we spent sometimes $2,000 or $3,000 a month on Google AdWords and made money. So that's how we did it. That's how we built our list. We did things called teleseminars. Remember teleseminars?
That was the precursor to the webinar. To the webinar.
And so we did those. We had autoresponders before people did autoresponders. And it was just the same thing, really, but on a more basic scale. But it was all about sales funnel, getting people in, communicating with them on a regular basis, and leading them. We had the freebie they could get, and follow up with emails.
Who did you follow back then? Did you learn it from anybody, or did you just kind of piece it together?
The guys at Internet Business Mastery.
Oh yeah.
I think that was the fact they came on after we started. That was the only thing out there in internet business on podcasts.
I remember listening to that podcast too in the very beginning. That was the first time I ever heard about virtual assistants, and like that you could hire people to do stuff for you that didn't live near you and stuff. And like, and man, you know what makes me mad, John? In 2000 and maybe 3, I can't remember what year it was. It was somewhere around 2002 and 3. I was selling digital products. I had pieced together like playbooks and was making drills and all sorts of stuff. But I was selling stuff on eBay and mailing people CDs with the playbooks files on them.
Yes.
Right. And man, I don't know what made me. I think I got I got a job at West Virginia as a graduate assistant. Something happened that I got a real job offline, and I thought it was a big opportunity. And it was. It's good. I'm not. It's awesome. But like, it made me stop doing that, and I regret that. I wish that I had somehow. I think I kind of circled the rabbit hole, but didn't trip into it. And man, what could I have done back then when it was like Wild West and you could crush
wasn't
it,
as much competition back then.
Yeah, I know. But God has a plan. God has a plan for all of us. So why did you sell this? Was it just something that was kind of just going along, or that Google had changed so much? Or
I retired basically. It all started out of our twin sons' experience in helping them get athletic scholarships. We went through a process that somebody came alongside and walked us through. I had families come to me afterwards and say, "How'd you do that?" So I just emailed them all our Word documents, said, "Here's how you do it." My friend came along and we built it into a system. And then, 18 years later, I'm so far removed from college sports. Our kids have grown up, and like I said, we got 8 grandchildren.
Yeah, the world's changed a little bit. Recruiting might even look a little different.
And my passion for that was waning too. And I knew there was somebody who could take it to the next level, who was really in it and could move it forward. And so Brent has come along, and already in the last couple months has really taken this to the next level. So I'm training him, teaching him, transitioning to him. And so now it allows me to focus on the membership project that I'm working on with the membership community without having two things in my mind. That being double-minded, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. You can't serve two masters. It's in the Bible. Y'all need to read it better. You know what I'm saying? That's true in every aspect of your life. You know what I'm saying? It's even with kids. Like you can only. Well, we're trying to train our kids right now. I can only really, they're getting older. They're almost teenagers. Well, Isaac is almost 12 and Anna's almost 10. So they're getting toward that. And I'm like, guys, listen, your needs and your emotions have developed and you're different now. And when daddy's with one of you, we need to focus. And mommy can be with the other one. And luckily we only have two, so we're still playing man coverage. You know what I'm saying? And like, but I got to focus even with them and say, look, it's not that I don't want to spend time with both of you right now, but I can't help you make cupcakes while I'm on the boat fishing with Isaac. That's not possible. So we're trying to get that. You can't serve. You can only do one thing at a time greatly. And that's what we want to be is great. Right. So we got to do that. So what's your membership idea now then? What's the next step for you? What is this going to be?
I've got as I said, we were in Christian broadcasting for years, still are. And my passion, I love to create content and I love to change lives in a big way, and broadcasting does that too. My vision is to help 1 million believers really know the Christ of the cross. Philippians 3:8 is my life verse. And so I am setting up a membership site. It's called Fresh Faith 24/7. And just right along the lines of, community and content and live experiences. And so just started going through your process here less than a month ago, and I've already loaded up some of the videos. I've got things on Kajabi. It's happening, just taking it step by step out of the blueprint here. And this is it.
Oh, you got the work. But if you're watching on YouTube right now, he's holding up the workbook, baby. He's getting serious around here.
It's out the workbook. Dream bold dreams. Set
That's right, man.
Page by page. And it works. It was a lot less stressful. It's been a lot less stressful than I thought. And you just take it one at a time and don't worry about the next step. Just take the one.
That's the mistake people make. They go in and try and watch everything first. But that's not how you do anything. You look at one page of the instructions, you do it, and then you look up and you're like, oh, I got the foot put together on the stool, right? Uh-huh. And then you just keep building, and eventually you look up and you're like, I can sit on that stool. This is amazing, right? That's what you're doing right now. So what's going to be that's an amazing why, by the way. Like what a great and purposeful and just amazing goal that probably wasn't possible 30 years ago to even do that on your own. You know what I mean? Like now you can literally reach out and just and impact so many people with one cast of the stone.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's just unbelievable. And memberships really allow that. I was actually talking, who was I talking to? I was talking to Dan Miller. You know who Dan Miller is?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Wrote 48 Days of Work. I was talking to him yesterday. He was on the Membership Masters podcast. We just recorded an episode together. And Dan was talking about that, how because he has a membership community. It's called 48 Days Eagles is what it's called. And he was like, it's unbelievable. He's like, you can literally create this worldwide community in a month that can grow, basically, if you build it right, as many people as want to join it. And you're seeing the true impact of your resources. He's like, the book was cool because the book could go out and people could read it. But the community is even better. The membership is incredible because you get to know these people and you get to see their stories back. Like they read your story. Now you get to see their story come back at you. And you just can't do that with a course. You can't even do it with a book. Like this is the audio and video content in a membership setting is the most powerful thing that exists anywhere in the world right now, because you can.
It brings it to life.
It really brings it to life.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I could, whenever I talk to you guys, like the members, even though this is the first time we've ever chatted. Yeah, but I follow up. I see the Cup Forum post, see this, see that. I hear my team talks about who's coming on the show, and it's kind of like I know you a little bit already. You know what I mean? It's just so bizarre. It's just this weird out of body experience. But man, can you imagine imagine 10,000 members reaching out to all their family and all their communities?
Oh yeah.
Woo! Chills.
Wow.
What I'm saying? So what's going to be inside the community? I know you're not to that yet. Like you're getting some coursework done. We all have training areas and things like that. But what's the vision for this membership then, to what it will do for the avatar? It will do for the customer.
Sure. It comes out of my personal experience of having been in full-time Christian service for so many years. What I found is I was doing things for God, but I really didn't focus on knowing Christ. And so there was a frustration. I got to a plateau, spiritually dry. I had great seasons of growth, but there was something missing, and I needed a spiritual breakthrough. And that's what I wanted to help people to do, have that spiritual breakthrough. We're all, seems like we're into this performance mentality rather than the relationship with God. And so that's where I'm heading, trying to, Paul said that I want to know Christ, to know the power of the resurrection. And his desire is to know Christ. And that's one guy who knew him. And what does that really mean? And when 3 or 4 years ago, when I understood that and had that breakthrough, it totally changed my life. It gives us freedom, gives us joy, gives us contentment. And I think a lot of Christians are missing out on that as I talk to them. That's why so many are spiritually dry.
I think that too, that it's amazing, like just as, like where COVID shut down all the churches for a while and things like that. But one thing that we kind of noticed, I don't know if noticed is the right word, but like we kind of felt like it was kind of good because we were in that performance, get up, go here, do this, show up for youth. There was no real, how you get into a routine. I guess routine's the best way to do it. But I like the word performance that you used there. Like it was like we were just going through the motions of taking the kids to church. We were doing the right things. We were checking the right boxes, reading the right books, listening to the right things at the right time. You know what I'm saying? But when COVID shut your church down, you're like, dang, man, I can't go to church. Like, that's crazy. It was just a totally different thing. But it kind of woke us up like, yeah, maybe we're actually personally responsible for knowing Christ. Maybe maybe we should be doing something about that. Maybe we took it for granted that we could just get up and go and it was a social event and you struggle with that, like that. And it's easy to fall into that rut and routine when you think you're doing you're checking the right boxes, but you're not. But it's like it's like a bad play. It's like watching a table read instead of the actual play. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. And that hit me. It was wow. I wonder what I'm going to do with this time. I'm just going to watch Netflix, and am I just going to just sit around or eat a lot or what? Or am I going to use that time to get to know the Lord? And I end up writing a book called Fresh Faith, and that's where the membership site comes out of, that same title, Leaning on God in the Corona Crisis. And it's how can we really lean into the Lord? And so that's
it's a reset for everybody. It's a perfect reset for everybody, man. That's good.
So I had over the last year, believe it or not, I published 7 books last year, 7 30-day devotionals. And I was really heading down the road of publishing devotionals and Christian content and books. And then this thought of membership came up, and I realized that I've got about 3 years of content for this membership site.
Love it.
And they're daily devotionals. So basically the videos are me walking through each of the days a devotional. So I just have the script up there and I go through it. I mean, it was like the Lord really he had me created all at once, and it's there. Yeah. It's there. And it's a nice bite-sized chunk. So I was recording over the weekend, and each video is about 5 minutes long for somebody to come in, and that'd be their daily, inspiration to lead them into that relationship with Christ.
And that leads to other things too. Like once those are in there, members, you can set up an email sequence that sends them, like if you date them, if you just say this one's August 1st, you can make it, basically they get one every day as soon as they join, you know what I'm saying? And then you just have to now envelop community and leadership around that process, and it rolls, it goes off. Like the automation can help you make sure people are being held accountable, and you can give them places to go and talk to these things. And there's all kinds of different directions you can go. So okay, so the content is pretty much there. The process of building the bridge to get over the gap is there, because we're using Kajabi, we're building everything out, right? Rolling through the Flip Your Life blueprint, one step at a time. So like, what's the big obstacle, fear, mindset issue? What's holding you back right now to keep you from making this thing a reality?
I think the one thing is trying to be perfect. and maybe
it ain't got to be perfect, John. Come on, man. You've heard the show.
Time in radio has done that. When you get on the air, it's got to be right. So I love what you're talking about, that don't go for the big launch, get the thing launched, and then you build it as you go. And so I've got to continue to tell myself that, rather than saying, okay, if I launch and get 3 members, it's a failure, let's close it down.
All churches start in the living room.
That's a good point. Every
church in the world starts in somebody's home. And then it spills out, and they get resources, and people come and they build a building, and then they, buy the plot of land, and they build a bigger building, then they put the Family Life Center next to it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how membership should be built, because the culture is correct then. The leader doesn't become burnout and overwhelmed. The worst thing that can happen, the worst thing that we ever see happen in our community, is when someone launches and gets 500 members and they didn't do a beta group. They just, because then it's a nightmare and it's overwhelming, and they have to turn it off, and they have to slow down, and they have to start over. Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's not the worst thing. I mean, 500 members is amazing, but you know what I'm saying? Right. If the infrastructure is not there, it would be like 500 people showing up outside your house to come to church. That wouldn't work. Right. Mm-hmm. Nobody would get served properly. So that can eliminate some of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, just, man, it's a church. It's a home church, and, right. and it's going to grow into the mega church. Right. You know what I'm saying? And you don't have to do that anymore. You know what I'm saying?
What do you, I heard your, lately in a couple of the podcasts, and I heard the goat farmers.
That was an awesome podcast. Like,
I know, it's great.
Steve Newland, and then, oh my gosh, it was amazing.
And you're really hitting the community. Said, don't worry about the content, really hit the community. And so one of the things I'm working through is, okay, I've got my intro video, my promo video, and it starts with content and community, then the live. I call it the Fresh Faith Journey, which is the content, Fresh Faith Community, and then Fresh Faith Live is the live part. So should I lead with community instead of the content when I'm promoting this?
Oh yeah. No, I don't know. Let's not just jump into that. So devotionals are a really powerful way to come into something, right? But I mean, there's a million devotionals. The devotional's not going to sell it as unique. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I mean, sure, it'll be from a unique voice, your voice. Sure, it'll be from this, that, and the other. But that's cool. But that's kind of like that's the minimum someone would expect from something like this is, well, I'm sure I'm going to have a daily devotional, right? Mm-hmm. What you've got to do is you have to focus on the community and providing accountability to actually do the devotional, right? And your radio background, I got an idea, it may come into that. And then you've got to talk about connecting the people necessarily without you. I think there's definitely a pastoral part of this where you could have like the member call or the live read through or the whatever, right? Like that could be something as simple as the Sunday devotional is always done live by me or my team, right? Okay. So that could be something like that could take the place of that could be your Q&A, you know what I'm saying? Is like, and I like that. I like the feel of that on a Sunday or a Wednesday night or something, like a church type vibe to it. You know what I'm saying? Like we all can meet together. But I've got a friend named Joe Nicoletti. Do you listen to Membership Masters podcast?
Yes, I heard that one. Yeah.
Did you listen to Joe? So Joe,
I bought one of his courses before too.
Have you really? That's amazing. Yes. I'll text him after we get off here and I'll tell him that.
It's Joseph. Joseph is
it's Joseph Michael. You know why? Yes. I don't know if I'm allowed to. I guess I'm allowed to tell this. What does he care? Well, Joe's one of my best friends. Like he's amazing dad. I love that guy. You know what I'm saying? He's a believer. He's just awesome. And so he used the name Joseph Michael when he launched his thing because he didn't want his bosses and people or anybody he knew to know it.
Okay.
So he actually, it's hilarious because he went through like this, you go through these different paths in online business to interact with certain people, right? So his network that he ended up with, they all call him Joseph Michael, and I call him Joe because when I met him, his name was Joe. Like it was Joe. I met him on a mastermind trip, and we just hung out, and his name was Joe. But everyone else knows him as Joseph Michael because he didn't want his boss to find out that he was launching an online business, and he created this like alter ego, basically online. So
well, I bought courses. He helped me in the whole publishing thing. I mean, I walked through a lot of his teachings on that.
I mean, if you're a writer and you're not following Learn Scrivener Fast and Joan Unchained Writer, over, you're crazy. You know what I'm saying? But what was I saying? Oh yeah. So like we were on a mastermind. We had met in Nashville for a couple of days in an Airbnb. We were all hanging out, and so a couple of guys lived down there, and me and Joe were staying at the place, right? So when the mastermind ends, me and Joe are still hanging out for the night, and we're, go eat dinner and come back and hang out and, go sleep, get up. And we were about to drive home. He was heading home and I was heading home, and we went to a coffee shop there in Franklin. And we were writing down ideas for his membership, and it was like a notebook, 7 pages and all this crap. And he's like, it's so overwhelming. And we just pulled out all the papers, wadded them up and threw them away. And I reached over, and those square coaster napkins? You know what I'm talking about? I got one of those, and I said, all right, here's our plan. We got 30 more minutes before we got to get out of here. Your membership has to fit on this napkin. Can't not flip it over. It's got to fit on the front part of this napkin. And so we started saying, well, who's the avatar? What's the biggest problem that we can't solve with content, right? And the answer was accountability. That's what we came up with. We wrote that word at the top, accountability. And we said, well, how can we help your avatar, which are writers, be more accountable? And he said, well, what holds me accountable is sometimes I'll meet up with some friends at a coffee shop. We all put our headphones on and we write together. And I said, that's it. That's your membership. What you can do is you can have a writing time where you show up. It was once a week at first. And you literally, I said, here's what you do. You get something that will let you put an hourglass on the screen with you. And you go, hey guys, it's Joe here. I've got a blog post to write. I'm so glad we're writing together. We're here together. The chat room's open. If y'all want to, chat a little bit, break some writer's block, I'm going to start the timer. You hit start and you don't talk to them again for an hour. I said, you just write your blog post. They go write their thing. Y'all come back and then you celebrate how many words you wrote. That was the whole membership, John. It was unbelievable. Wow. And he said, do you think people would pay for this? I'm like, I don't know. Let's ask him. And he sends it out, and he's got hundreds of members now. And it's expanded. Now he's got I think writing times almost every day of the week. His sales page has a little timer, and it goes and it's like 24 hours till the next writing session. So he's got this built-in scarcity. And that's the whole thing. And he's just got people that run the writing times for him. Right. So I wonder, because it's like a radio thing where you show up every day for people, right? At first, it could be you, your wife, or whoever's with you to do this, right? But you'll eventually have leaders emerge. You'll have maybe hire some team members. But what if you had daily devotional time where people could come together to do the daily writing time, right? It doesn't have to be daily at first, but I think there is something powerful to that.
Yeah, I'm scared when you say daily. I'm going.
Yeah, but always remember, it doesn't have to be you, right? It may need to be you in the beginning. Okay. Depending on how your life is structured, you know what I'm saying? And it could be something as easy at first as just an automated social post where people talk to it. Like you could have a Facebook group, you could set up Meet Edgar or Hootsuite to automatically post a thread in the group every day, and people could come in. And then on certain days, you could do it live if you wanted to. Right. So I'm not saying it's got to be like me, you, Zoom, everybody. Right. I think though going that direction eventually would be cool. Because I don't know if that exists. I don't know if I've got Bible.com and my app and I can get a devotional. But what if you've got this amazing content built around your philosophy and your goal? It exists. I'm getting an email every day about my Bible time or whatever. Every PS has a Facebook group post. In the Facebook group, you've got it automated where the same thing that gets emailed gets posted in the Facebook group, right? And you call it the, devotional of the day discussion, whatever, DDD, D cube, D3, baby, the devotional of the day, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. So something like that, but eventually wouldn't it be amazing if I could come into a community where somebody showed up and they could lead every day. And maybe on Mondays it was Bob, and on Tuesdays it was Christy, whoever it was, whatever it looked like. And they literally, they had the devotion. Maybe they hit play and you hear your video because it's always you reading the devotion. And then it's like, hey, let's ask questions about this. Let's wrestle with this devotion together. Okay. So that we can have fresh faith. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and that would be an amazing thing to work toward, you know, because then and this is getting a little morbid, but it's going to outlive you. Like you could create the process where your content's done, your message is ready. And as long as someone could run the company and show up for people, it could always happen that way, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
That could be that, and that would impact people, man.
That's outside the box. And I love what you're saying about it's got to be different. You're right. There's so many devotionals out there, but how can I not make this just a static, read this and go do it? But,
so listen to the sales page. Okay. Cause all right. So this is my superpower. Have you ever signed up for a devotion, but you didn't finish it? Are you tired of constantly buying devotionals at the bookstore and never cracking them open? What if you could come to a place and do a devotion with other believers every day, led by somebody who actually cares? What if you could be a part of a community that would reach out to you when you didn't show up to pull you back in and help hold you accountable? What if you could do a devotional every day? Like that's an easy pitch, because that's the biggest problem that we all face is the glut of information. We buy a book, we never look at it again. We download a devotional, we do day one and we forget about it. And like an automation in a membership lets you do that. Like if you can actually say, if someone doesn't log in for so many days, send an email to them. So you can set up systems like, hey, Bob, you didn't follow up. You came in, you logged in on Monday, but you didn't log in again for 5 days. Where you at, dude? Come on back. Right. And like, then you start building community around these things, and you have these daily events that people can go to and jump back into. And it's like, and then they'll start getting to know each other in the comments, the chats, the whatever, you know what I'm saying? And they'll feel like a part of it. You know, there's a really cool tool if you don't want to do this on Facebook. So I was talking to Pat Flynn yesterday, and a couple months ago, actually right before the pandemic, I was talking to Pat, and we were in California together. And I was like, bro, when are you going to start a membership, man? And he's like, we're starting one. We had a meeting about it last week. And I'm like, oh, you're getting out of here. So we started talking about it. He launches this membership, right? And everybody has a different philosophy of where to build community, right? But there's an app called Circle. I think it's circle.io, which would be a great complement to a membership community maybe. I don't know exactly how it would work, but it's kind of like a combination of Facebook groups and Slack, which is a thing. So you got hashtags and different things like that. But you might want to look at something maybe out of the box a little bit for not the content, not the member area, not that solution, the email marketing and all that, but like maybe something to build a little community that feels a little different than Facebook. And going back to Dan Miller, he said something interesting yesterday. He uses Mighty Networks, and he said, if someone's not willing to download a new app for my community, they're probably not a good fit for my community. Right. So you might want to look at something even off of that. The only reason I love Facebook for something like this, even more than our forums, which is what we use to build community, is this is a true, you don't ever have to teach a habit. You got to get in their life where they live now. Right. It's like playing country. It's like being a member at the country club and you invite them to church. Right.
Well, plus you can go live. I mean, that's what I like about it too.
Love it.
Go up on the group
exactly.
And boom, I can do a 2-minute, 3-minute live session, and it's there.
Facebook probably is the right way to go with this. The only danger with Facebook is something could happen. Your group could get shut down, whatever. But that's what the beauty of Kajabi is. And you build your membership there. And you have your email marketing there. You can always reach out to your group if something happens. Right. Hey, the Facebook group's down. Don't know why, but come into this comment thread. Here's the Zoom link, whatever. You can still communicate. Always have 2 lines of communication open with your members at all times. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But I dig that. I think that's like a good, that's a 36-month vision almost of where you had to get to that point. But
yeah, that's the whole thing of daily, even the content I'm laying out now. When they jump in, I like your start here. The start here is 7 days with Jesus. So for 7 days in a row, the focus is all on Jesus, and we look at one aspect of Jesus' character each day. So it's 7 days. And then I say, okay, if you want to continue, I've got 25 more experiences for you here. Or you want to go through the faith route, I've got a series on faith. I got a series on prayer. wherever you feel you need to go next, but I wasn't considering it being daily content for them because I couldn't keep that up.
No. But you can automate it at first. What you should do is that 7 days with Jesus should be a free challenge every month. And you should repeat it. And that's how you grow your list. That's how you grow.
So have it outside the community?
Yeah, like it could be available for free, almost like, but it would be a challenge. You would have to make an event out of it. I don't know. I also too, like, I'm wondering, I'm trying to just think this through. I mean, the Facebook group has huge value, so you definitely want to, but I'm almost thinking that, like, I'm trying to figure out like how it goes back and forth. But I think that what you would do is you would have separate Facebook groups for the challenge, and you would do that challenge every month live. Okay.
And that'll be free. Anybody can come in.
Free, anybody can come. Because if you get them into that, they're going to love it. Hey guys, we're going to show up every night at 9 p.m. and we're going to go through this together. Like, that would be live. Now that would also exist as a recording in the actual membership. So they could get it on demand, right? But if you use that as the entry point, you'd never have to make a new thing again. You could grow your list every single month. You would do the same thing every time, right? You have identified this as the foundation of the entire community, right? Again, this eventually does not need to be you teaching this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You go out and get 1,000 members, paying X dollars a month, then we start hiring team or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But then what you do at the end of the challenge is like, hey, did you love the last 7 days? Let's continue this discussion together. We have daily devotions over in our community, right? And then, do you need accountability? Or we're going to send you emails. We're going to notify you on Facebook. We're going to do all these things. That can be automated. Like when you sign up, you're going to get an email every day. It's going to take you right to your course you're going to take. Hey, listen, we're going to hold you accountable. If you don't log in for 4 or 5 days, we're going to reach out to you and say, hey, Bob, where you at? You know what I'm saying? You write those really organic too, those emails where it's literally like, name, hey, where you at? We haven't seen you since insert date of last, whatever.
Okay.
It's like 1 sentence emails. Is
that in Kajabi? Does Kajabi have that?
Oh yeah, it's automations. It's an automation. Yeah.
Okay.
You can set all that stuff up in there. Yeah. So like, it's just reminders, like you on Sunday you send them like, here's our verses for this week and what you're going to learn. All this is automated. You can totally build this out from scratch. Okay. And your goal is just build it 1 month at a time, and then in 12 months it's over. Because the Bible's not going to change. It hasn't changed in many years. It hasn't changed in 10,000 years. I don't think, Luke 4:3 will be Luke 4:3 next week. So it's like I always tell people, like, they're like, do you ever make new content for your history site? And I'm like, no, Abraham Lincoln is always the 16th president. He has been since 2015 when I stopped making content. So no, it's evergreen, right? So all that can be built in that way. And if you're working toward it, like, and you just, I would set goals. Like when I get to 500 members, I hire the first person that does this daily, right? Because there's just something powerful about that. And once you create the system, it's just hire good people to lead.
So you're saying, I see you come back to this, there's power in it being daily and there's power in it being interactive. Is that what you're saying?
That's where all the power is. You know what I'm saying? Where two are gathered together, baby. Mm-hmm. Don't build a solo show when God said when two are gathered together. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You got to create a way to gather them together. That's the difference. But I don't think at first it's going to be really hard. I think weekly at first, you being the mentor, the leader, having some kind of weekly devotional. Maybe you kick it off or something like that. Maybe they could be structured in a way where it's always a week long and you always do it in a week. Like maybe instead of daily devotional, what if you had 52 courses and they each had 7 modules and you structured it in a way where this is like, all right, this week we're going to be doing this devotional. This week we're going to be doing this devotional. That's
good. And a different question each day, maybe to consider.
Yeah, something like that.
Study question.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Maybe you can consolidate it in a way to do that.
So what would you tell me? Because I know you're going to cut me off here pretty soon. So what are 3 things I should do in the first 6 months to get off to a solid start and lay the foundation? Because there's a lot of ideas.
Oh, well, that wasn't loaded and tough. Thanks for that question, John. Okay.
So, what'd you say?
So let's say there's 2 months. Let's say there's 3 8-week cycles there. Okay. The first 8 weeks is definitely figuring out what the actual devotionals look like in the product. Like I think a weekly version of this using the daily devotionals is good. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So I would definitely get all the content done, right? Especially since you've got the content and we are only reordering, we're organizing.
Yep.
This is curation is what you're doing first. Okay. You're curating the content into the organized path that people will follow. Okay. The second thing is identifying where your technology goes. Okay. So you've got to figure out like what you're going to use for this and settle in on it and master it. Okay. Like, for us, it's Zoom. Our forum is called Website Toolbox, like things like that. If you're going to use a Facebook group, that could be settled in. I think it's got to be a paid group. You know what I'm saying? I think you've got to keep it secret, and you got to understand how you get people, like your notifications, like someone signed up in Kajabi, send the team an email. We got to go invite them to Facebook. They get an email with the Facebook link, but we want to reach out to them, make sure they get over in the Facebook group. Right.
Okay.
So figuring out the mechanics of how you want the weekly stuff to work right now. Oh, I take that back. The second cycle is probably your emails. Like I think you work on product for 6 to 8 weeks, get it lined up where you want it, looking the way you want it. We've been doing that for U.S. history teachers. We've been moving it to Kajabi. And then the second thing is automation. Like, okay, well, when someone logs in, what do they get? What do they get? What do they get? Do they get daily emails? Do they get weekly emails? Like, is our automation set up if they don't log in for a while? Like any automation that can make your life easier and hold them accountable. So all of your email automation is synonymous with accountability right now because you can't do it every day and you can't hire someone to do it every day. Okay.
Okay. So
think about that more on a daily level. Okay. And then the third thing is audience growth, audience building. So I think that you have experience with ads, you have, you're comfortable with like, hey, we can invest a little bit to go out and get some people. I think you launch a challenge. I think you launch the 7 Days with Jesus challenge. You use ads to fill it up. Let's say that we can get, it's pretty easy target. I think you got to be careful sometimes with Christian stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because Facebook's algorithm will catch religion stuff and sometimes they'll turn it off. You know what I mean? So I don't know if it's, you could call it we could call it a 7-day devotional challenge where, you just have to watch your words, and people will be like, I can't believe they're shutting down my Jesus post. Well, they're shutting down Muslims and Jews and everything. You know what I'm saying? It's like, they don't want religion being targeted with ads too promotely. So you have to be like, hey, are you a faith-based entrepreneur? Or are you a faith-based parent? You want to get, do you want to freshen your faith? You got to use words like that to make sure that your copy's solid. It's going to get through the algorithm. It's going to get in front of the right people. Right.
Okay.
And basically it's like, hey, it's just a challenge, devotional challenge. These are tough times. Let's all go through this together. Let's freshen our faith. You call it the Fresh Faith Challenge. Right. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of it, you can pitch your first members in and be like, hey, would you love to do this every day? We have a daily devotional group. We meet weekly and we talk about the devotion from last week. And then we can do that. But I definitely seed it with just go after ads and stuff like that.
So if they go through the challenge, and I know you're, and I'd asked this on the group live time we had last time, the 30 days free. Do I take them from the challenge of 7 days into 30 days free? I
probably would. I don't know. In the beginning, you could call it. This is a great time to founders pitch. Like, hey, hey, this is like a virtual church plant. You want to be a part of our church plant? You know what I mean? Like, It's kind of like $9 a month, something real simple. You need people to come break things. That's the only reason the first group comes in, right? Might be better to get 10 people. You'd rather get 100 instead of getting 50 free trials. You might want 10 people paying $9 a month just to test it.
Well, I was wondering about that too. The beta group. Do I get the beta group like this, or do I find them?
Yeah, I think so. So. Now, here's one thing though. You've been in Christian radio broadcasting for a long time. There could be some. Do you have access to where you could buy some advertising on the radio and get people to go to a site where you could work with a partner who has a big audience already that's already faith-based? I would not shy away from leveraging your network and your unfair advantages. You have access to millions of Christians all over the world, and you need a fraction of a percent of those people to make this successful really fast. So you gotta double down on those unfair advantages. I think that the ad strategy is going to fall in place really simple because it's just target people in the demographic, get them to come in and start growing the thing. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And if you're doing a free challenge every month, you get this nice flow of. You can always be open, but you do a 7-day challenge. So you spend a week, let's say the 1st to the 7th, you're spending a week like growing the audience, getting ready to launch. Week 2 of the month is do the 7-day challenge. Week 3 is onboarding anyone that joins. Week 4 is settling in. We do it again next month. So you got this nice sales cycle that has scarcity built into it. But can you get that in front of 1 million people listening to the radio? And can you get some of them to go to freshfaith247.com/challenge or something? You know what I'm saying? That could be a great way to grow your audience too, you know?
Well, I could even produce a 60-second feature out of my content for the station, just tag it with my website, and they probably play those for free.
Exactly. And now you have millions of, you have as many people that ever hear that. It's like that, you ever heard on Caleb, they'll do the Proverbs ministry where the
Proverbs 31.
Yes. The Proverbs 31 ministry. She'll read a quick Proverbs, talk about it, and be like, if you want to learn more, go here. Like, how many people go there every day? It doesn't have to be everybody. If you have 1 million people listening, you need 1% of 1% of 1%. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's a perfect unfair advantage that you understand. Once you've got your systems down, that you can pour gas on the fire. You just got to kind of rub the sticks together for a little bit first.
Well, I'm glad you hit that as far as using radio, because that's part of my strength is I can impact those people through media. I like to change lives through media, change masses of people.
So all you're trying to do now is say, hey, here's this, and now let's go deeper. And that's all any of us are trying to do. And you're giving them a chance to go deeper with you by telling them on your radio show to come over here, right? Mm-hmm. And now you got your, listen, I'm all about ads for anything, anywhere. Like I was in New York last year, and I was literally on the subway, and they have internet down in the tubes. You know what I'm saying? And like, I'm looking around, I see this phone number. It's up on those things, and it says for advertising. And I was looking around, and I was like, do you know how many millions of people are on this train right now that would love to quit their job and do an online business? And I was legit calling the New York City subway looking for ads. I was like, Jocelyn, imagine we're sitting here, and right there, you see that on your train, you see Shane and Jocelyn Sam's online business. Listen to the Flip Lifestyle podcast. They're all looking at their phone, not talking to each other. They would totally do it. But it was like, it was pretty expensive. It was like 60 grand a train for a week or something like that. It was crazy. But I told Jocelyn, I said, I have a new goal. I want, sooner or later, I want the freaking 2 train from Brooklyn, and I want it right over from Staten Island, and I wanted the whole thing to say Shane and Jocelyn on it. And I just wanted that by my, because imagine how many people would download your podcast. Jocelyn one time checked from airports. Same reason. We were like, where do people sit and wish they had a different job while they're waiting on their plane that they've been delayed for? So we looked up ads, and we were going to put podcasts there, like, bored waiting for your plane, listen to Shane and Jocelyn talk about online business. So if you've got an unfair advantage, or you think you can develop it, bro, go for it. You know? So, but definitely product first, automation second, the challenge third. Those are your next 3 things. And then we have an acceleration strategy later when we get into like phase 7 is all about this, like mindset about marketing and stuff like that. And you know, how we can really pour gas on the fire, and we can talk about it on Q&As. And you
mentioned technology in there somewhere. That would be after.
Yeah, I mean, like it's part of the automation, I think, is where that kind of snugs in. You know, you're figuring out your emails, figuring out how you're going to do memory calls, figuring out how the Facebook's going to look. Because Facebook groups, people think you just start a Facebook group. Yeah, that's not true. Like, you got to think, well, what are the theme days? What are we doing on Monday? What are we doing on Tuesday? What are we doing on Wednesday? What are we doing on Thursday? Are we doing 2 posts today? Are we doing 1 post today? Do we let our members talk in the Facebook group and start posts, or do we only let us start posts and they can reply? Like, there's 1,000 different things to get the Facebook group correct, right? So that's kind of the stuff you got to think through. I probably need to do, I'm gonna write that down. I need to do a course on that, like a Facebook group course. I think that could be interesting, because I can evergreen that pretty good, just the mechanics of it, you know? We're real slow with that Facebook group, man. I'm scared to death of that thing, because I've watched them become unruly mobs very fast. You know, that's how the internet works, basically. You know, it becomes an unruly mob fast. So cool. Well, listen, let's do this. We've got a little plan here for the next 3 months, but let's dial this into a good 24-hour to 7-day call to action. With everything we've kind of talked about today, what do you feel like the next things you need to work on are?
Well, I think I need to sit back and map this out like I did through the blueprint, because I had it all mapped out, to get my mind around it, and then go in order here. Start with start with the content, continue to feed that. I was thinking I wanted to be on by the time this aired, so it's not going to happen. So I was going, okay.
Well, I don't know, man. We're recorded. Listen, we're recorded. We're recorded way ahead. This may not be coming out until like December. And it's August. Yeah, then you're good. Safe. We're like we got like 12 in the can, bro. I mean, I'm just constantly. I'm batching. That's how. I'm not on the radio, John. I don't got to do it live. I can batch ahead and then take a couple months off. You know what I'm saying? So,
cheater.
You could call it cheating, or you could call it figuring it out. I'm just saying. Right?
No, so it sounds like this is like end of the year plan. Launch it in January, kind of thing.
Oh, that'd be great because then you can kick off. Is that
what you're thinking?
Yeah, like forget 2020. Let's start 2021 fresh, right?
Yeah.
With a fresh faith, with a fresh view. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of 2020.
But I could be doing my beta group before then, and
I would do the beta group sometime around probably November.
Okay.
September, October. Yeah, I would say probably a launch somewhere late October, early November.
I don't want to wait too long, or I'll get bored.
For sure.
I need to see some action.
Yeah. Well, you can do the beta group as soon as you have content for them to consume, because all a membership is the content plus showing up live. That's really it. So as soon as you're ready to do that, just go for it. I don't think you don't set a deadline that you feel comfortable with that won't make you bored. You know what I mean? Okay. And you'll be able to do it. Well, listen, man, what awesome chat. I love your mission. I think it's amazing. I'm privileged and honored to be a part of it and help you build it. And man, I can't wait to support you and watch where this goes. You got all the chops, man, and you got a chance to really impact a lot of people. That's a big old stone you're throwing into the water to cause some ripples, man. So thank you so much, man, for being so transparent and honest on the show, and having this conversation with me live on the air for all of our listeners so that they can learn too. And we're gonna make it happen in the community.
It's been awesome. Thank you, Shane.
All right, guys, that wraps up my interview with John Fugler. What an amazing mission. What an amazing heart. What an amazing guy out there trying to impact the world with his membership site. And that's really what it's all about. There's nothing better to go out and have a mission and impact the world than a membership site. You can have a huge community. Your community can go out and affect other people, and you have massive influence, and you get to take action, and you get to go out there and see your mission come to life. What is your mission? How do you want to impact the world? We would love to help you build an online business, build a membership site that lets you reach out and impact everybody all over the world. 30 years ago, you were pretty much locked into where you live. That you could influence the people that were around you. But now we have the power of the internet. Think about this. Right now, there's 4 billion people on the planet connected to the internet. Google, Elon Musk, Facebook, they're all putting satellites in the sky right now, and they are going to deliver free internet to the other 3 billion people in the world over the next 10 years. There has never been a better time to go out and impact the world than right now. You can literally reach out and touch anybody all over the planet. We'd love to help you build that inside of the Flip Your Life community. We have a process that's going to help you build your online business, grow your online business, and create that amazing community that will help you and your mission. All you have to do to get started inside the Flip Your Life community is go to fliplifestyle.com/free, and you can start a 30-day free trial. Inside of the community, you can jump into our program just like John did. You can start building your product. You can get it ready for launch. And before you know it, you're going to have your own membership community that you can go out and you can accomplish your mission as well. That's fliplifestyle.com/free to start your 30-day free trial. All right, guys, we are about out of time for today. What an amazing conversation with John Fugler, man. I really enjoyed that. But here's the great part about this show, guys. John's not gone yet. We've got an awesome segment that we do at the end of every Flip Lifestyle podcast where we read a Bible verse. Jocelyn and I get a lot of our inspiration and motivation from the Bible. And I love it when our members come ready with a verse that they love that's impacted their life. And John has an awesome Bible verse he would like to share with you guys today. So John, take it away.
Okay, it's actually a couple of them, Philippians 3:8 and 10. What is more, I consider everything a loss because of the surpassing worth of knowing Christ Jesus my Lord. I want to know Christ, yes, to know the power of his resurrection and participation in his sufferings. And that's really where I am right now. And as I enter this season of life, I want to know Christ more and more every day and really know him, know his heart.
Amen, Reverend. Love it, man. Thank you so much for sharing that, brother.
Bye.
Huge deal, dude. I'll be the first person knocking down the doors into the Facebook group.
Okay. Merry Christmas then.
That's right, man. I'll see you around. Yeah, the birth of Christ will be a great launch for this actual product. Right? I said, hey, not only is Jesus born, but so is my devotional website. Here we go. Let's go. Let's do it, man. One more thing before we go. Thank you so much for listening to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. If you love the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast, if we bring a little joy and a little happiness and we bring some knowledge into your life every single week, could you do us a favor? Go to Apple Podcast and hit subscribe. Download a few of the podcast episodes onto your phone. Apple's algorithm loves seeing downloads and it loves seeing those subscribes. And please leave us an honest review over on Apple Podcast. That'll help us grow the show, expand the mission, and reach more people so that we can help them change their family's future as well. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.